I sat in that courtroom, listening to my husband's lawyer paint me as an unfit mother, watching my 7-year-old daughter sitting quietly in the corner, when suddenly she raised her small hand and said the words that would change everything. "Your Honor, may I show you something that Mom doesn't know about?" The judge nodded. My daughter pulled out a tablet. And when that video started playing, the entire courtroom froze in complete silence. "My name is Nicole. I'm 34 years old. And 3 months ago, I sat in a divorce court while my husband of 9 years tried to take full custody of our 7-year-old daughter, Emma. He had lawyers. He had more evidence. He had witnesses ready to testify that I was a bad mother. What he didn't have was the truth. And what I didn't know, what nobody in that courtroom knew, was that my 7-year-old daughter had been recording something on her iPad for weeks, something she'd kept secret from everyone, something that would expose a truth so devastating that even the judge would struggle to maintain composure. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Before I tell you what was on that video, before I tell you what my daughter showed that courtroom, you need to understand how I got there. You need to understand the man I married, the lies I believed, and the moment everything fell apart. But first, I need to ask you something important. If you're watching this, if you're already invested in this story, if you want to know what my 7-year-old daughter showed that judge, I need you to hit that subscribe button right now. We're building this channel to 10,000 subscribers. We want Women Confessions to be the strongest community on YouTube for real women's stories, stories that need to be told, stories that give other women hope when they feel hopeless. Every subscription helps us share more confessions like this one. Every like tells YouTube to show this to more women who need to hear it. So please subscribe now, because what happens in that courtroom? You need to see this through to the end. And if you've already subscribed, comment "I'm here for this," so I know you're with me. Okay, let's go back to where it all started. 9 years ago, I married my husband, Michael. We met in college. He was charming, ambitious, studying to be a lawyer. I was working toward my teaching degree. We got married young. I was 25, he was 27. Everyone said we were too young, but we were in love. We were going to prove everyone wrong. For the first few years, everything was perfect. Michael graduated law school and got hired at a prestigious firm. I became an elementary school teacher. We bought a small house. We talked about starting a family. And then I got pregnant with Emma. I'll never forget the day I told Michael. He cried. Happy tears. He said I was going to be the best mother in the world. We were going to give this baby everything, he said, holding me. Everything we never had. And for a while we did. Emma was born on a Tuesday morning in April. 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Perfect. The first year was exhausting but beautiful. Sleepless nights, endless diapers, but so much love. Michael was a good father at first. He'd come home from work and take Emma so I could shower or nap. He'd do midnight feedings on weekends. He seemed genuinely happy. But then things started to change. He got promoted at his firm, longer hours, more stress, more important cases. I'm doing this for our family, he'd say when he missed Emma's first steps. When he missed her first words. When he stopped coming home for dinner, I'm building our future, he'd say when I asked him to be more present. I believed him. I supported him. I took care of everything at home while he built his career. I thought we were a team. I was wrong. When Emma turned 5, I started noticing things. Michael's phone always face down on the table. Long showers the moment he got home from work. New cologne I didn't buy him. Working late at the office, but when I called the office line, nobody answered. Business trips that seemed to increase in frequency. I told myself I was being paranoid. That the stress of raising a child and teaching full-time was making me suspicious of nothing. But then Emma said something that made my blood run cold. It was a Saturday morning. Michael was at the office. Emma and I were making pancakes. "Mommy," Emma said, pouring chocolate chips into the batter. "Why does Daddy have sleepovers with Miss Rachel?" I froze. "What, baby?" "Miss Rachel. From Daddy's work. She has sleepovers at her house sometimes." My heart started pounding. "How do you know that, Emma?" "Because Daddy told me. He said not to tell you because it would make you sad. But I don't understand why." She looked up at me with those innocent 7-year-old eyes, having no idea she'd just shattered my world. "When did Daddy tell you this?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. "Lots of times. When he picks me up from school sometimes, we go to Miss Rachel's house. She's really nice. She gives me cookies. I felt like I was going to be sick. Emma, can you do Mommy a favor and not mention Miss Rachel to Daddy? It'll be our secret for now, okay? Okay, Mommy. I spent the next week investigating. I checked our credit card statements. Sure enough, charges to restaurants I'd never been to, hotels in our own city, flower deliveries. I checked his phone while he was in the shower. Password protected, but I knew his passwords. He used the same one for everything. Until I tried it and it didn't work. He'd changed it. I called his office on a Friday evening when he said he was working late. The receptionist said everyone had left hours ago. And then I did something I never thought I'd do. I hired a private investigator. His name was David, mid-50s, former police detective. What do you need? He asked when we met at a coffee shop. Proof, I said. Proof that my husband is having an affair. It took David 3 days. 3 days to get photos of Michael and a woman, blonde, late 20s, beautiful, entering a hotel together. 3 days to confirm that she worked at his law firm. Rachel Morrison, associate attorney. 3 days to destroy my marriage. I confronted Michael on a Tuesday night after Emma was asleep. I threw the photos on the kitchen table. Who is she? Michael's face went white. Nicole, how long? It's not what you think. How long, Michael? He sat down heavily in a chair. 2 years. 2 years. Emma had been 5 when it started. 2 years of lies. I want a divorce, I said. Nicole, please, we can work this out. You've been sleeping with another woman for 2 years. You've been lying to me. You've been bringing our daughter around your mistress. There's nothing to work out. Michael's expression changed. The guilt disappeared, replaced by something cold. Fine, he said. You want a divorce? Let's get divorced. But I'm taking Emma. I laughed. Actually laughed. You're not taking my daughter. We'll see what the judge says, Michael said, standing up. I'm a lawyer, Nicole. I know how custody battles work. And I'm going to prove you're an unfit mother. I'm an unfit mother? You're the one having an affair. Doesn't matter, Michael said coldly. What matters is who can provide the better life for Emma. I make 3 times what you make. I have a stable career. You're a school teacher who can barely afford this house without my income. My blood ran cold. You wouldn't. Watch me, he said. Then he grabbed his keys and walked out. That was 3 months ago. And that's how I ended up in that courtroom, fighting for custody of my daughter against the man I thought I'd spend my life with. Over the next 3 months, Michael did exactly what he promised. He hired the best divorce lawyers money could buy. He built a case against me. He twisted every moment of our marriage to paint me as unstable, emotional, unable to provide for Emma. He claimed I was emotionally abusive. He claimed I neglected Emma because of my teaching job. He claimed his affair was because I'd pushed him away. All lies. But he said them with such confidence, backed by expensive lawyers, that I was terrified. My own lawyer was good, but not great. I couldn't afford great. I was a school teacher fighting a lawyer who knew how to manipulate the system. And through it all, Emma stayed quiet. She lived with me primarily, but Michael had visitation rights. Every other weekend, she'd go to his new apartment, the one he shared with Rachel now. They weren't even hiding it anymore. How was Daddy's house? I'd ask when she came home. Fine, she'd say. But something in her eyes seemed distant. Is everything okay, baby? Yes, Mommy. But I knew my daughter. Something was wrong. I just didn't know what. The custody hearing was scheduled for a Wednesday morning. I wore my best dress. I barely slept the night before. Emma was supposed to be in school. But Michael's lawyer had requested she be present in case the judge wanted to speak with her about her preferences. The thought of my 7-year-old being questioned by a judge made me want to vomit. Michael sat on the other side of the courtroom in an expensive suit, looking confident. Rachel sat in the gallery behind him, offering moral support. My stomach churned. The judge was a woman in her 50s, Judge Patricia Morrison. I'd heard she was fair but strict. Michael's lawyer went first, and he was brutal. He painted me as an overwhelmed, emotional mother who couldn't provide stability. He brought up times I'd been late picking up Emma from school because of teacher meetings. He brought up my modest income. He even brought up that I'd been to therapy after discovering the affair, twisting it to suggest I was mentally unstable. Your Honor, Michael's lawyer concluded, my client can provide Emma with the stability, resources, and emotional environment she deserves. Ms. Nicole, while well-meaning, simply cannot compete with what Mr. Michael can offer. I felt tears threatening. My lawyer objected multiple times, but the damage was done. Then it was my lawyer's turn. He presented our evidence, proof of Michael's affair, his lies, his neglect of Emma during her early years. But Michael's lawyer countered every point. A personal mistake does not equal poor parenting. My client has since ended that relationship. He hadn't. Rachel was sitting right there, and is committed to being the best father possible. More lies. The judge looked tired. Does anyone else wish to speak? That's when I heard it. A small voice from the corner of the courtroom, where Emma had been sitting quietly. Your Honor? Everyone turned. Emma stood up, holding her iPad tightly against her chest. Yes, Emma, Judge Morrison said gently. May I show you something that Mom doesn't know about? The entire courtroom went silent. I looked at Emma, confused. Baby, what? Judge Morrison held up her hand. Let the child speak. Emma walked forward, her little legs carrying her toward the judge's bench. She still clutched her iPad. Michael's face had gone pale. Your Honor, I don't think this is appropriate. Mr. Michael, sit down, the judge said firmly. Then to Emma, what would you like to show me, sweetheart? A video, Emma said quietly. I made a video. Well, lots of videos, but I put them all together. My heart was pounding. What video? Emma had an iPad for educational games and kid-appropriate videos. I monitored it regularly. What could she possibly have recorded? Your Honor, this is highly irregular. Michael's lawyer stood up. So is a 7-year-old requesting to present evidence, Judge Morrison said. But I'd like to see what she has. Bailiff, can we display this on the courtroom monitor? The bailiff took Emma's iPad and connected it to the large monitor on the wall. Emma looked at me with eyes that seemed much older than 7. I'm sorry I didn't tell you, Mommy. I wanted to help. Help with what, baby? I whispered. But she didn't answer. The video was starting. The monitor lit up with Emma's face. She was in her bedroom at Michael's apartment, holding the iPad like she was making a selfie video. The date stamp in the corner read 6 weeks ago. Hi, video, Emma said quietly, looking around nervously. My name is Emma and I'm 7 years old. I'm making this video because of what I heard. Present-day Emma stood next to the judge, watching the screen with everyone else. Video, Emma continued. I don't think Daddy knows. I can hear him when he talks to Miss Rachel, but I can. And I've been recording what they say because I think Mommy needs to know. My breath caught in my throat. The video cut to different footage. This wasn't Emma's face anymore. It was audio playing over a black screen. Emma had been secretly audio recording conversations. But whose conversations? Then I heard Michael's voice. And once I get full custody, Nicole won't be able to do anything about it. Rachel's voice. Are you sure the judge will rule in your favor? Trust me, I know how to work these situations. Nicole doesn't have the money to fight me properly. By the time this is over, Emma will be living with us full time. My hands started shaking. The judge leaned forward, eyes fixed on the screen. Michael stood up. Your Honor, this was taken out of context. Sit down. Judge Morrison's voice was steel. Let the video continue. The video continued with more recorded conversations. Michael's voice. The key is to make Nicole look unstable, emotional. My lawyer's already building that angle. Rachel's voice. But she's a good mother. Everyone knows that. Michael. Doesn't matter what's true. Matters what we can prove, or what we can make them believe. Another conversation. Rachel. What about Emma? Won't she want to stay with her mother? Michael. Emma's 7. Kids that age can be influenced. I've been working on that too. My blood ran cold. Influenced? Another recording. Emma's small voice. Daddy, I miss Mommy. Michael's voice irritated. You just saw her yesterday, Emma. But I want to live with Mommy. Well, that's not going to happen. You're going to live with Rachel and me. You'll see Mommy on weekends, maybe. But I don't want... Emma, enough. Go to your room. Tears were streaming down my face. I looked at my daughter standing beside the judge, and she looked at me with apologetic eyes. She'd recorded everything, every cruel conversation, every manipulation, everything. The video continued. Another date stamp. 3 weeks ago. This time it was video footage, not just audio. Emma had propped the iPad up somewhere in Michael's living room. Michael and Rachel were talking, not realizing Emma was recording. Rachel. I still think you should just offer Nicole more visitation. Fighting for full custody seems... I don't want her to have any custody, Michael interrupted. Don't you understand? This isn't about Emma. It's about winning. Rachel looked shocked. What do you mean it's not about Emma? Nicole humiliated me, Michael said, his voice cold. She told everyone about the affair. My partners at the firm found out. My parents found out. She ruined my reputation. You had the affair, Michael. I don't care, Michael shouted. I'm going to take the one thing she loves more than anything. I'm going to take Emma, and once I have full custody, Nicole will suffer for the rest of her life knowing her daughter is being raised by me and you. The courtroom was completely silent except for the video. Rachel's voice quieter now. That's cruel, Michael. That's justice, he said. She destroyed my reputation. I'll destroy her heart. The video cut back to Emma's face. I heard all of that, video Emma said. Tears running down her 7-year-old face. And I don't think Daddy loves me like Mommy does. I think Daddy just wants to hurt Mommy, and that's not fair. The video ended. The courtroom was dead silent. I was sobbing openly, not caring who saw. Michael was standing, his face red. Your Honor, that video it's inadmissible. It was recorded without my knowledge. That's illegal. Judge Morrison slowly turned to look at Michael with an expression of pure disgust. Mr. Michael, she said, her voice deadly calm. Did you just confess in open court that you were attempting to gain custody of your daughter not because you wanted to be a better father, but because you wanted to punish your ex-wife? No, Your Honor, that was taken out of context. Out of context? The judge's voice rose. You said, and I quote, "This isn't about Emma, it's about winning." You said you wanted to take your daughter away from her mother to make her suffer for the rest of her life. What possible context makes that acceptable? Michael's lawyer tried to intervene. Your Honor, if we could take a recess. We will not be taking a recess, Judge Morrison said sharply. She looked at Emma and her expression softened. Emma, sweetheart, thank you for being so brave and showing me this. You can go sit with your mother now. Emma ran to me and I grabbed her, holding her so tight. The judge turned back to Michael. Mr. Michael, I have presided over family court for 17 years. I have seen many custody disputes, but I have never seen a parent openly admit that they're using their child as a weapon to hurt their ex-spouse. Your Honor, I'm not finished, the judge snapped. That video shows clearly that you have no interest in your daughter's well-being. You're interested in revenge. You're interested in control. You're interested in causing pain. She looked at me. Ms. Nicole, I apologize that you had to endure this process, but I want to thank your daughter for her courage in exposing the truth. Then back to Michael. Here is my ruling. Judge Morrison looked at her notes, then directly at Michael. Primary custody of Emma Morrison Nicole is awarded to her mother. Nicole, effective immediately, I gasped, pulling Emma closer. The judge continued, Mr. Michael, you will be granted supervised visitation only, 2 hours, twice per month, with a court-appointed supervisor present at all times. Your Honor, you can't, Michael started. I can, and I am, Judge Morrison said. Furthermore, you will be required to attend parenting classes and undergo a psychological evaluation before any consideration of increased visitation. Michael's lawyer was frantically scribbling notes. Additionally, the judge continued, you will pay child support in the amount determined by state guidelines based on your income. And Ms. Nicole, I'm awarding you full legal decision-making authority for Emma's education, healthcare, and general welfare. Your Honor, this is completely... Michael's lawyer tried again. One more interruption and I'll hold you in contempt, Judge Morrison warned. I'm not finished. She looked back at Michael with barely concealed contempt. Mr. Michael, I'm also ordering that Emma undergo therapy to process whatever trauma she may have experienced from being used as a pawn in your vendetta against her mother. You will pay for this therapy. Your Honor, and the judge's voice rose, I'm referring this case to the State Bar Association for review. Your conduct as an officer of the court, lying under oath, manipulating legal proceedings, using your legal knowledge to abuse the family court system is grounds for professional discipline. Michael's face went from red to pale white. What? He whispered. You're an attorney, Mr. Michael. You took an oath. You know better, and I will personally ensure that the Bar Association reviews whether you should continue to hold a law license. The courtroom erupted. Michael's lawyer was trying to calm him down. Rachel had left the gallery. I saw her sneaking out the back. My own lawyer was smiling, squeezing my shoulder. This hearing is adjourned, Judge Morrison announced. Bailiff, please provide Ms. Nicole with the official custody order. Mr. Michael, you'll be served with all relevant paperwork within 48 hours. She stood and everyone rose. Before leaving, she looked at Emma one more time and gave her a small smile. You're a very brave little girl. Emma smiled back, then buried her face in my shoulder. I gathered my things with shaking hands, Emma clinging to me the entire time. Michael tried to approach us as we headed for the exit. Nicole, please, we need to talk. Stay away from us, I said firmly. Emma, sweetie, I didn't mean what I said on those recordings. Emma pressed closer to me, not looking at him. Emma, please, Daddy loves you. No, you don't, Emma said quietly, her face still buried in my shoulder. You said it wasn't about me. I heard you. Michael's face crumbled. I was angry. I didn't mean... Mr. Michael, my lawyer stepped between us. Per the judge's order, you have supervised visitation only. Any attempt to contact Ms. Nicole or Emma outside of those scheduled visits will be considered harassment. Are we clear? Michael looked at me with something like desperation. Nicole. Goodbye, Michael, I said. Then I walked out of that courthouse with my daughter in my arms, feeling lighter than I had in months. That night, after Emma was asleep in her own bed, in our house, where she'd be staying permanently, I sat in my living room trying to process everything that had happened. My 7-year-old daughter had saved us both. She'd been brave enough, smart enough, to record evidence that I never could have obtained. Evidence that exposed Michael's true intentions and saved her from being used as a weapon. I went to check on her before going to bed myself. She was sleeping peacefully, her iPad charging on her nightstand. I picked it up and opened it. There were more video files, some I hadn't seen in court. I clicked on one dated from last week. Emma's face appeared. Hi, Mommy, she said to the camera. If you're watching this, it means I showed the judge the videos. I hope I did the right thing. She paused, chewing her lip the way she does when she's nervous. I heard Daddy talking to Miss Rachel about how he was going to take me away from you, and I got really scared. Because I don't want to live with Daddy and Miss Rachel. I want to live with you. Tears rolled down my face. So I remembered that my iPad can record videos, and I thought, maybe if I record what Daddy says, someone can help us. I recorded lots of videos over lots of weeks. I hid the iPad in my backpack so Daddy wouldn't see. She smiled a little. I'm sorry I didn't tell you, Mommy. I wanted to. But I thought maybe you'd say I couldn't record anymore. And I needed to get enough videos to show the judge. I wanted to protect you like you always protect me. The video ended. I sat on the edge of her bed and watched her sleep. This incredible little girl who'd been braver than any adult I knew. Thank you, baby, I whispered, kissing her forehead. Thank you for saving us. Over the following weeks, the consequences of Michael's actions rippled outward. The State Bar Association did open an investigation into his conduct. While I don't know all the details, I heard through mutual contacts that he was facing potential suspension or even disbarment. His law firm quietly asked him to resign, apparently having a lawyer whose custody case went viral on legal forums as an example of how not to behave in family court was bad for business. Rachel broke up with him. I heard this through Emma, who'd mentioned during one of Michael's supervised visits that Miss Rachel doesn't come around anymore. Good, at least she had some sense. Michael's first supervised visit was awkward. The court-appointed supervisor told me later that Michael had tried to apologize to Emma, but she'd been distant and uncomfortable the entire 2 hours. She'll warm up to him eventually, the supervisor said. But I wasn't sure about that. Emma was young, but she wasn't stupid. She'd heard her father say terrible things. Heard him admit he was using her to hurt me. That's not something a child forgets. 2 weeks after the custody hearing, Emma and I were having dinner when she suddenly said, Mommy, I need to tell you something. What is it, baby? She put down her fork. I didn't tell you all the videos I recorded. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? There were some really mean ones, where Daddy said things about you that made me really sad. I didn't show those to the judge because I didn't want you to hear them. Emma, what did he say? She looked down at her plate. He called you bad names. He said you were... She struggled with the word. You pathetic. He said once he took me away from you, you'd be all alone and you'd deserve it. My heart broke. Not because of what Michael said. I'd already accepted he was cruel. But because my 7-year-old had heard those things and tried to protect me from them. Oh, sweetheart, I pulled her into my lap. Thank you for trying to protect me. But you know those things aren't true, right? I know, Mommy, she said into my shoulder. You're the best mommy in the whole world. That's why I had to record the videos. So the judge would know? You were so brave, I said. So incredibly brave. Were you scared? She asked. In the courtroom? When I showed the video? Terrified, I admitted. I had no idea what you were going to show. But Emma, what you did, you saved us. You understand that, right? She nodded. I just wanted us to stay together. We will, I promised. We're going to be okay. Just you and me. Just you and me, she repeated and finally smiled. 6 months have passed since that courtroom hearing. Emma and I have built a new life together. A better life. I got a promotion at school. Now I'm the assistant principal, which means better pay and more stability. Emma is thriving. She's in therapy like the judge ordered, and her therapist says she's processing everything remarkably well for her age. She's resilient, the therapist told me, and she has a strong support system. That makes all the difference. Michael still has his supervised visits twice a month. Emma goes, but she's never enthusiastic about it. She's polite to Michael, but the warmth is gone. The trust is gone. You can't unhear your father admitting he's using you as a weapon. Michael lost his law license. The Bar Association suspended him for 3 years for conduct unbecoming an attorney and abuse of the legal system. He works as a legal consultant now, making a fraction of what he used to earn. Rachel married someone else. I saw the announcement on social media. Part of me wanted to message her and warn her husband about what kind of person Michael really was, but I decided against it. Not my circus anymore. Michael tried multiple times to get the custody agreement modified, claiming the judge had been biased. Every motion was denied. The video Emma recorded had been too damning, the words too clear, the intent too obvious. There was no walking it back. About 3 months after the hearing, someone leaked portions of Emma's video online. I don't know who, maybe someone from the court, maybe one of Michael's former colleagues who hated him. But within days, it was everywhere. 7-year-old exposes father's custody scheme in court. Girl's secret recording saves her from manipulative father. Lawyer loses custody battle after daughter records his cruel plan. Millions of views, thousands of comments. Some people praised Emma's bravery. Others debated whether a 7-year-old should have been recording conversations. Some blamed me for letting it happen. But overwhelmingly, people supported us. That little girl saved herself and her mother. This is what manipulation looks like. Thank God she was smart enough to document it. The father is a monster. Using your child to hurt your ex? Disgusting. Emma doesn't know about the viral videos. She's too young for social media, and I intend to keep it that way. But I know. And sometimes late at night, I read the comments from other mothers who've been in similar situations. Thank you for sharing this story. My ex is trying the same thing and I feel so alone. Seeing your daughter's courage gives me hope for my own custody battle. I'm going to start documenting everything now. Thank you. If Emma's bravery helped even one other mother, then maybe the publicity was worth it. I've learned so much from this experience. I learned that people you love can become strangers. I learned that the man you marry isn't always the man who shows up in divorce court. I learned that even expensive lawyers can't defend the indefensible. And I learned that sometimes the smallest voice in the room is the most powerful one. Emma was 7 years old. She had no legal training, no understanding of custody law or courtroom procedure. But she had something more powerful than any of that: the truth. And she was brave enough to record it, save it, and present it when it mattered most. If you're going through a custody battle, especially with a manipulative ex, here's what I want you to know. Document everything. Every text message. Every missed visitation. Every broken promise. Everything. Trust your children. Emma knew something was wrong before I did. She heard things I never heard. If your child seems uncomfortable or scared, believe them. Don't underestimate your ex. Michael was a lawyer. He knew the system. He knew how to manipulate it. And he almost succeeded. Never assume you're safe. Just because you're the good parent. Good doesn't always win without proof. And most importantly, your children are watching. They see more than you think. They hear more than you realize. And sometimes they're brave enough to save you both. 6 months later, Emma and I are thriving. I got promoted to assistant principal. Better pay, more stability. Michael lost his law license for 3 years. Lost his high-paying job. Lost his reputation. Emma still sees him twice a month with a supervisor present. She's polite but distant. The love is gone. You can't unhear your father say, "This isn't about Emma. It's about winning." Last week, Emma asked me, "Mommy, was I right to record Daddy?" I pulled her close. "Baby, you saved us. You were the bravest person in that courtroom. Even braver than you? Especially braver than me." She smiled. "I just wanted us to stay together. And we will, I promised. Forever." People ask if I'm angry that Emma kept those recordings secret from me. I'm not. She was 7 years old, carrying the weight of protecting her mother while being manipulated by her father. She did what she had to do, and she did it perfectly. That little girl with an iPad and the courage to tell the truth saved us both from a man who saw her as nothing more than a weapon. Michael wanted to take Emma to hurt me. Instead, Emma exposed him to save me. And that's the difference between real love and control. Real love protects. Control destroys. My daughter taught me that at 7 years old. So here's what I need from you right now. If you think Emma was brave, comment, "Brave girl." If you've been through a custody battle and survived, comment, "I survived too." If you believe children should be heard in court, comment, "Listen to them." If you think Michael got exactly what he deserved, comment, "Justice served." And if this story gave you hope that truth can win against money and power, comment, "Truth wins." But most importantly, if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe right now. We're building Women Confessions to 10,000 subscribers, a community where every woman's story matters, where truth is more powerful than money, where mothers protect their children and children protect their mothers. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Share this with every mother who needs to know she's not alone in her fight. Because Emma and I, we won. And you can too. My name is Nicole. I'm 34 years old. My husband tried to use our daughter as a weapon against me. My 7-year-old daughter became a warrior instead. And in that courtroom, when she asked, "Your Honor, may I show you something Mom doesn't know about?" she changed both our lives forever. The video destroyed him. The truth set us free. And we're never looking back. Thank you for listening to my confession.